Welcome back to the GT podcast. I'm your host, John L. Today, we're going to have Q&RA, where you guys submit the questions. I'm going to give you guys the answers. And this could be about anything. I have 16 years experience in the fitness industry. It can be about nutrition, supplementation, training, anything that you guys like, anything that I can help with you guys to improve and get better, because that's how you're only going to be greater. It's only how you learn how to be better is to do better and to know better and to have the experience. So you can submit your questions in 3 different ways. First way is through the anonymous box. Second way is through the question and answer. I tried to do it at least twice to get as many questions as I can. It can be about anything. I do have a disclaimer. So if you do ask anything that may not be comfortable or anything, just let me know. I will say it, but I will only say my knowledge. I'm not a doctor. I do not throw in health advice or any of that. Also, I'm going to probably have an email just to have the questions also for that as well. But before I get into the questions, I actually wanted to talk about some good news in the bikini division. Pittsburgh Pro prize money is going up, which is great because I feel like this is something that can help improve bikini a lot. So it's going up to $50,000. So I'll play this a bit, I'll show you the breakdown of the prize money. So first we'll get 25,000, second we'll get 10,000, third we'll get 75,000, fourth we'll get 5,000, and fifth we'll get 25,000. This is double the prize money that the Arnold Classic would give out, because the Arnold Classic for bikini gives out, I think, 25. So this is double that. So if people don't get invited or not, or even one of the 10 girls that get invited to go to the Arnold, this is a great opportunity for them. And I'm hoping this brings out a lot of good pros, because we could get about 30, 40 pros and even top Olympians doing this show. So, I mean, I think for the Arnold, some of the top girls aren't going to do it, or they maybe have not applied to do it. We'll see what happens next week after the deadlines close. But I think this is a great opportunity. And especially when you get in front of the top judges, and especially because this is going to be bigger. It's going to have an expo. I do think the female athletes go on Sunday, and the men's open goes on Saturday. And the men's, they're getting 100 grand for first place. So, I mean, this is great for bikini to grow. I do think that they are going to get a sponsor hopefully in the year, but it just goes on the back end. I think Young LA was supposed to be one of the sponsors for the division, but they backed out and they had a loss of money. But never say never. We could get something good. It just takes a lot to put into like a big, melting big pot to where it can be distributed. Obviously, promoters have to pay sanction fees just to have the divisions up and, put the girls up and obviously distribute the prize money. But this is a good step in the direction where things are heading. I'm looking forward to 2025. This is definitely a show that I will drive to and I will be at. And I'm looking forward to that. So that's first news. All right. Second, so there was some controversy in that Denmark pro qualifier, and we had an American judge, and I'm not blaming any judge. I'm just saying, like, I feel like, so this girl decided that she wanted to compete in 2 divisions. She got a pro card in figure, and they didn't have enough depth in wellness. So she decided to go into wellness, and she didn't even have a wellness suit. She had a figure suit on, which she's not showing her back in wellness. So, but she had a good physique, even though it was a little too big. She met the criteria. So I'm going to show you that. Here we go. So it's this girl right here named Fanny. I'm not sure what country she's from. I'm guessing one of the northern Scandinavian countries. I know her coach is from Switzerland, but she has a great figure physique. Obviously, she's needs to work on her taper a bit. I mean, I'm not going to go over figure a bit, but she had a great physique, and it was good enough for her to get her pro card, and she got her pro card. But then she decided to go into wellness, and yeah, she's a little more bigger and bigger upper body. But if you think about the wellness criteria, what's been the most difficult thing about this whole, and a lot of shows, especially with wellness, especially since it's not really, some of the shows can be really small. It's just not many people nail the criteria for the division. They kind of get too big up top, and it takes away the idea, which is supposed to be asymmetrical, like bigger lower body, smaller upper body. But in this front pose, I definitely think she hits it very well. And she didn't have much experience in wellness. She just decided to show up and do it. And in any pro show, any pro qualifier, the best physique always wins. The judges only can judge what's in front of them. That's why this sport's so subjective. But you turn around to the back, yeah, her hair's covering her glutes. But she has the wellness physique more than this girl in second. See, she's so wide and she doesn't just have the condition. I feel like, yeah, if she was to do wellness, she could widen the stance out and obviously bring down her upper body. But there's nothing wrong with doing 2 divisions for a pro qualifier. There are guys that do classic and men's physique. But obviously, if you're going to do those divisions that are kind of similar to each other, you have to have the posing trunks for classic and then the board shorts for men's physique. Now, as for the female side, I think Amanda Kahatsu won the overall in figure, and then she won her class in women's physique, but the suit's kind of the same thing for figure. But there was, I don't know, maybe there was no time for her to get a new suit and all. So they just said, okay, this is fine. And if the judges said that was fine for you to wear, even though it's not a wellness suit, wellness cut, that's the only controversy. But the problem that I've seen, in even pro qualifiers for some of these divisions is that it's almost like 2 in a class get a pro card. So like 10 girls and then all 10 get pro cards essentially. So it kind of shows you why that division's not really doing very well. And it's just lacking the depth, I believe, to really take off, because it's kind of like the division with the most athletes in it, that just shows you the popular divisions. And unfortunately, figures not in wellness have not really done that, especially in the States where we make a lot of pros, but not a lot of them will do shows. So we're giving out pro cards to a lot of these girls, but they're just not ready. I feel like the US is really behind in, wellness criteria. That's just my take on it. But regardless, whatever showed up, that was the best physique. And we're just going to stick with that. Anyways, let's get into some Q&RAs where you guys submit the questions and we'll give you some answers. All right. So this first question, I won't mention anybody's name here, but she asks, where'd it go? Here we go.
Tyler Manning here.
Sorry about that. So I just went over the controversy at the pro qualifier. Do you think Jen Dory will be back on stage within the next year or two? I don't know. That's up to her. She's obviously lifetime qualified. If she wants to come back, that's her choice. She just has to let the pro league know. But I even said this to Jen when I met her at Resorts World. I don't think you need to prove a point. Even when she decided to not compete in this Olympian, defend her title and try to go for the third one, she doesn't have to prove a point. All the shows she's done was big. She's won the Olympia twice, first one to lose to get it back. She's won the Arnold. She's won Tampa. Every show she did was big. So I kind of don't, and she overtook everybody. And one thing I even mentioned about Sydney in my story today was when she started out, it wasn't so easy. And she gradually got better every show. And Jen's first 2 Olympias, she qualified on points. And then her third one, she got second, she won Tampa. I don't think Jen has to prove a point. And, with her business ventures and, sponsors, she kind of has to be the one that look at the pros and cons. Obviously she has coaching. She moved to Florida, has real estate. She has good connections with a lot of the people in the industry. So it's kind of like you look at your pros and cons. It's like, okay, if I compete, am I making or am I losing? Or if, it's kind of like she would do it just for fun because she makes a whole lot even outside. So it's like if she did, let's say, the Arnold and the Olympia, it's kind of like she would lose more than what she would make. So maybe for her, she would have to weigh out the pros and cons. I don't think this is, now I'm just like speculating. I don't know what she wants to do from here on out, but if she does come back, hey, this will be an interesting Olympia coming in 2025. But I don't know. I mean, to come back after taking year 2 off, Bikini is rapidly changing, and she has to go and understand this is the game. I have to play it. It's like when someone takes a whole year off and you just peak for one show. If you have great genetics, you can pull it off. But a lot of times, they just have to understand what's going on. I mean, we'll see what goes on for them. Okay. Should the ones who already qualify to the O and win give the qualification to second place? No. The problem that we see right now is we have too many competitors on the Olympic stage. Now I get it. You have your Ashley Kays who keep winning, and then some girl keeps getting second to her. I've heard about this. We have the record on the Olympia stage for Bikini was 54 girls on the stage in 2022. I mean, right now we're at 27, and we're not even into 2025. And I don't know if the Olympia is going to be in September or October. So, you want the prize money to go up. You want the prestige of the Olympia to be there. I feel like it's much better with less competitors. And I've even talked to some pro judges about this. Like, they said they'd rather have 35 versus 50 to judge, because you're not going to be judged fairly. You don't get much time. You may get, if they had a minute for 60 girls, that's over an hour. And then they have to go through comparisons, which is going to take so long. And it's Friday night. It's Friday prejudging is so long with those 7 divisions. And obviously the night show and finals, it takes so long. It's not, no one's going to look their best. I want to look at a show where people look their best. And I understand someone keeps getting second. I would like to see the point system come back, but have it go like this. Like small shows, you got to win 2 to qualify. Your big shows like your Arnolds, your New York pros, your Pittsburghs, your Tampas, your Texas, your Chicagos, you can be one and done. But I feel like smaller shows should be like, you got to win 2 to win, versus one and done. You keep having a lot of athletes. It would make it more competitive, more fun. And maybe they should do a point system again and make the shows popular. I know a lot of the shows were small in depth, and some promoters lost money, and we may not have a lot of pro shows. I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm hearing Clash may not do any pro shows. They're just going to do NPC shows. And USA Fit Games, they're not doing any. They're no longer associated with the IFBB. So that takes away about 7 qualifiers. But we still have a couple of shows. The last show is going to be in December in Taiwan. But you got to keep the quality of the Olympic. You got to keep in mind, I understand it's very difficult, and plus you have to travel outside the US. But I just think I get it with international pros, because maybe this is the only local show that they have that's a pro qualifier. I mean, that's a Olympia qualifier. But the cost of flying them in, they give you a per diem, they help with air travel for your plane ticket, and they give you a hotel. I just don't see. It's very difficult to do, and maybe they have to do something different. And I know I'm kind of going on and on about this, but maybe if they don't have a resolution, they may have to do a cut round like they used to do at nationals. Like when they had so many in a class, it's like when they first had the group comparisons, they go, okay, number 1, 12, 18, 25, 34, 37, 38, 40. You guys will get to do your individuals. Everybody else, thank you. It's kind of like maybe they have to do an elimination or or cut round just to make things better? I don't know the answer. I'm not the IFBB. I'm not the Pro League. So maybe they'll figure something out. But they have a 3-year contract with Resorts World. So I'm still waiting on seeing the schedule. I think maybe after Nationals in 2 weeks, we're going to see what the schedule looks like when the Olympia is going to be in either September or October. It's more expensive in September because there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of conventions, a lot of expos going on, versus October. It's much more cheaper. And there's a part of me that's like, as a fan, I love it in Vegas, but it's expensive. It's not so convenient for the athletes. They don't get microwaves and they have to go to multiple hotels for tanning, for makeup, for just being check-ins. It's just, and traveling all that way it's just not convenient versus Orlando. Despite having so much traffic in Orlando, I think it's much easier because everything's in one place in that Orange County Convention Center, and that whole place. It's much easier. But as a fan, you're just like, oh, what am I going to do? Go to Disneyland? Go to Disney World? It's like, yeah. But no, I don't believe in getting second place qualification. They did that for in 2021, like second place, and I think wellness and like some other division where it's like second place was going to get qualified, but that's because they didn't think how many was going to be there, and visa issues and travel also due to the pandemic. But no, I'm sorry, I know how frustrating it is to get second, but I believe you win it, you're in it. Or maybe they should just bring back the point system where top 5 get points. Obviously, if you win a show, you're qualified. But maybe something has to be done. I mean, Ashley Kay can't just be everywhere. I mean, I think she does a public service. I mean, there's not many girls that compete a lot. And I think Bikini, you can do that a lot more because of the demands versus other divisions where they carry more muscle. You could obviously get health problems. All right. That was a long one. Next question. With Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, how do you maintain and not go overboard and gain weight, especially if you're on prep or anything? The simple answer is obviously have structure. Obviously talk to your coach, and yes, you can eat a lot, but treat it as anything such as that. If your coach goes on macro tracking, obviously keep in mind of that, and just know how your body is going to respond. If it's desserts, if it's your sodium intake, and all, just mind all that. Also understand, like, I don't have to eat everything as one. Just eat enough that you feel good and comfortable with, and obviously enjoy the time with your family. Don't say no. I can't eat it. I'm pretty sure if your significant other or your family members understand, they would go, okay. And you talk about your lifestyle with them. But one thing I'm doing for this Thanksgiving is this: I'm just going to eat what I feel good, that if I eat certain things, I'm not going to get bloated. I'm not going to get in it, because a lot of people, they'll gain 10, 12, 15 pounds from eating so much in one day, drinking wine. You just got to have that discipline and willpower, especially, during Christmas, where a lot of those sweets, a lot of those good cakes, a lot of those, you're going to get a sugar rush, and just have to have that discipline. It's just in anything you do, even if you're in the off season, it's just knowing when to say, all right, that's enough right there. Who is the most popular bikini pro? Like right now, I mean, who do people want to look like? That's the first question I would ask. I mean, Ashley Caldwasser obviously is the most recognizable and the most decorated one. She has 50 pro wins and 3 Olympia titles, and she helped pave the way for many girls in bikini. And I think she's probably the one that's still consistently in the game and top girl. Laura Lee, everywhere I go, everyone wants to look like Laura Lee. And obviously Jen as well. Everybody likes Jen's look. They have a look that's appealing and a physique type that people want to look like. And I think that's what makes bikini so great, is it's attainable and relatable. Amy, I don't know if she realizes this, but Amy Delgado, she has a fan base in Mexico and in South Korea. I think she should travel to South Korea. I definitely think they would listen and and see her and take her advice, they don't even speak English, not even one word out there, but they tell me how much they love her, and they can't say her name right. They say Ame or Amy, and I'm like, I understand what you're trying to say. You like Amy. I'm like, oh, that's why I think should be a representation of the sport. And if people like that and they see that, that's who they gravitate to. That's who that draws the eyes to. But I mean, there's multiple stars in bikini. I mean, all the top 10, most of them are verified on IG. So even our top 15 girls, even girls that may have not a place, even they're very popular because they have a look and a physique type that many girls and women want to look like. Let's see. Who do you consider to be the most muscular bikini pro? Like right now, I'd say Valeria. Some people say Amy. The one I've seen that was most muscular in person myself was 2019 Etala. I felt like she could have gone into figure, but I felt like she was more in line with bikini. Because she's taller, she's 5'8". She's more in bikini. What are your thoughts on natural shows? Do you think that it's just too many, or just it would give people opportunity? I think what the IFBB is trying to do is, have better participation in the sport and have better participation in competing. So they want that attainable look. They want something that's realistic. And some people may not want to go into that PED route. And I respect them for that. I respect the hell out of Doug Miller, who was a lifetime natural. And when he won the Jay Cutler Classic, he didn't want to go into North Americans or nationals because he's like, you know what? I accomplished everything I could as a natural. I'm at that late age. I don't want to hurt my health and do anything like that. So I respect that. Lana Dunbar, she won the natural pro. She turned a pro at that show. And there's a lot of people with gifted genetics, but maybe they'll do that. But I feel like you turn pro as a natural, you can only compete at natural shows versus, doing natural, then going enhanced. I just feel like it wouldn't be fair for some athletes. And you never know where they might take you. But I feel like someone who's enhanced and decides to be natural, they can't do that. It's just unfair because they've already developed that for a long time. So it's just a touchy thing. Obviously, Tyler is doing what they can with doing polygraphs and, drug testing, urine samples, urine testing. But I think it's great that some promoters are adding them in and having them as Olympia qualifiers. And I definitely think it gives people opportunity. I mean, I'm in classic. So, I mean, as like going against guys who have been really experienced, and I'm not going to ever live up to Bumstead's name. And as much as I love him, and my favorite guy is Ramon, but I know if I'm doing this, I know what I'm getting into as a mature person, and I'm 29 years old. Let me go. Do you think European judges judge differently than they do in America, or is that all based off the lineup? I feel like every judge we have, and even I saw that thing with Overcome podcast, they try to stick to the criteria, but this is what showed up. This is the type of physique that shows up. If everybody looks hard in condition, this is what they have to go with. I understand the whole thing with Valeria with the quad splits, but she was more in line with the criteria than the other girls were. So it's different physique type. Even, we're seeing a lot of the Asian pros, they look great, but sometimes they just come in too conditioned, or just presentation is not always the best on them. But that girl Yuyanga, and I will recap the Japan Pro. I felt like she was pretty spot on, but when she came to Olympia, she looked kind of harder than before when she won that show in I think when she wore a green suit, it was like Taiwan or something like that. But I definitely see a lot of talent coming out of those countries, and I would wish they compete here, but obviously, financial things an issue, but it's just what shows up, and obviously, there's a high and low score, so they go with who's more in line, who's going to pose the best, and how is they just look. But honestly, maybe some people like a physique type, maybe they don't, maybe they agree or disagree. But this is a subjective sport. If you don't like it, well, I'm sorry, this is just not something you should be following. But yeah, I mean, do I get frustrated with how some people place and how things happen? I'm kind of like, but then when I look back and after a show's over, even when I'm recapping, I look back and I go, I understand. I see why that happened. But, it's just that's all part of the subjectivity of our sport. Okay. What do you feel is the most unnecessary exercise to do? I don't think many gyms have these anymore, but like that neck machine. I get if you had a neck injury and it's specialized for that, but nobody does those things, especially in bikini. I don't know why, but that's just probably the first one that comes up to my head. Obviously, training style in bikini is much different than any other division, and you have to be very specific and know your weaknesses and how to improve on that. Knowing how to hit your upper outer glutes, knowing how to position yourself based on how your body composition, how you are built, and how you were born. Everyone grows differently, and we have to look at that and go, okay, what do I need to work on? What do I need to improve to have my physique stand out, and how my genetics can be better? Um, okay, I'll go through a couple more. Okay. Why are there so many red suits this year? Almost everyone looks like sisters on stage. Does anyone not bring other suit colors, or just this is what they have? Honestly, people change their suits every show. If it just so happens to be a coincidence that a lot of girls are wearing red this year. If I had an athlete, I would tell them bring two, and based off how the stage lights look, that's what you want to contrast with. I actually spoke with a competitor who was doing the Japan Pro, and she brought a red suit and then she brought a pink suit. That's like a berry color. And I told her if it was a darker background, go with the red. But if it's like, if it was a darker background, go with the pink. But if it's lighter, go with the red, because it looked like a dark red. And she did the Japan Pro, and she decided to go with their berry pink suit. She got into the first call outs, and it looked pretty good on her. I mean, yeah, there is a lot of reds. I think second, third, fourth, and I think most of those girls had red suits. I think most of the girls in the top 5 had red suits. I mean, red's the color of the year. I mean, I'm hoping Toxic Angel sold out of those suits a lot, especially with Amy this year. Her nickname is Little Red. Even in wellness, a lot of them are wearing red. It's like, y'all look like twins. I think one show, all the girls had a red suit. And so some of them had to go to like one of the booths and like get different colors. Just bring two. And maybe at check-ins go, hey, what color you wearing? Or like, hey, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if they would ask questions like that. Oh, like, what color suit are you wearing? But yeah, it just happens to be the popular color. I mean, at Nationals last year, I only saw 4 colors: red, blue, purple, and teal. And the overall winner, Maddie Michelson, had a teal suit. So that's just the direction where things are. I don't see many girls wear pink or green at all. Now, green, it's a okay color. I mean, your Ashleys, your Sierras, your Wendy's, your Allison's, they can do green suits and it looks great on them. You kind of know them by their green suit. Jen Dory with their green as well. Pink, like I said, it all depends on your skin tone and your darker hair. Blonde hair, pink suit, you look like a Barbie. I will never forget how what's her name? she won the Olympia. Nathalia Mello. They said she looked too much like a Barbie when she wore pink suit in 2013 Olympia, the one Ashley won her first one in. You just don't want to do that. You want to make sure it just contrasts hair, dark skin tone. I always use that word contrast a lot, like dark, light, dark. You want to accentuate the physique versus light, dark, light, like light hair, dark colors, lighter skin tone, and how it takes your tan. One more. Kind of went over this question, but I'll kind of go over again. What can be, if bikini is so popular and it's the most attainable look, how come prize money is not higher than in this division versus what they give in wellness, what they give in other divisions? And how come fitness is more at the Arnold than bikini is? It's at the promoter's discretion. Obviously, I think because fitness is a performance, that's why it's much higher. Plus, injuries are more higher. But it just goes on the back end. You just have to have someone that wants to be part of it and, put their money where their mouth is. I think if collectively people want to compete, but if people want to compete and obviously raise the prize money, I mean, when it started at the Olympia, it was like $15,000 and then it went to 35. Now it's 50 for first place. You just have to have that person that really wants to contribute to it and give back. I mean, I like what Pittsburgh's doing with that. But maybe it's just going to take a good sponsor. But if the girls are doing bikini like it's a hobby, or if it's kind of like for fun and not so much as a career, it kind of doesn't feel like they want to put more money to that. You have to go and say, okay, look, pay this much for showing, flight, all that, hair, suit, makeup, tanning. It costs more than how much the first prize is. Like Ashley wins a lot of shows and it's kind of like, okay, I got this good check, but she has all the sponsors. She has all the resources to do what she does. That's why she competes a lot. And that's why she travels a lot. But someone starting out, like I said in my last Q&RA, you got to make yourself marketable. You got to get yourself sponsored. You got to bring some sort of value, start winning shows, start doing content. I don't know whatever happened to some of the top girls doing content. Like I follow Aristelsy Cuevas and she hasn't done the pro show yet. And she just turned pro last year and she won Jennifer's, Jen Dory's show, the High Roller Classic, I think it was called. And she got a pro card at Nationals, but she's putting herself out there. She works a full-time job and she's showing what she's doing. She's training, where she's on her life adventures, like doing that and something that you can relate to. I think that's what can really help you out. All right. That's my last question. And I appreciate you guys. I'm going to be previewing the Japan Pro. I'm going to be previewing Big Man Weekend and recapping Japan and Kansas City Pro. And I'll see you guys next time.